Blessings and welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Today we're in Ezekiel chapters 8, 9, 10, and 11. And this 4-chapter section is a complete section of Ezekiel because we start with Ezekiel sitting in front of the elders of Israel. Now they're in Babylon. They've been exiled, and the elders are still together, leading the people of Israel that have also been exiled to Babylon. So it's still this leadership group, but he's sitting in the midst of them. And while he's sitting there, he gets this grand vision from God. And I don't know what this would look at like. You see in the movies where somebody's eyes roll back in the back of their head, and I don't know what happens, but they see him go into this vision. In chapter 8, 9, 10, and 11, we see Ezekiel's description of what this vision is. And then at the end of chapter 11, he comes out of the vision, and he's still sitting in this group of elders. And they've witnessed the whole thing. And then the last verse in chapter 11 says, he explains this vision to them. It's really cool. I mean, it's 8 to 11. He starts the vision, he ends the vision, and our whole read is this vision of Ezekiel. So just telling you ahead of time, there's not a lot of law enforcement takeaways because this vision is all about future events that are going to happen, things that he sees, things that God tells him and shows him of what's going to happen in Jerusalem. And it's really cool. I hope you read all of this. I hope you've read all of the reads, obviously, up to this point, but the whole book of Ezekiel up to this point, going back to chapter 1 of Ezekiel, is important to this story. So it gives us a good sense of why we need to keep up with the read every single day. Because in Ezekiel chapter 1, we see this creature. It's called a cherubim, but it's got 4 heads, and one side's a cherubim, one side's a human, one side's an eagle, and I'll have to look to see what the third head is, but they're all the same, each of the 4 cherubim. So you've got 4 cherubim with 4 heads, which is 16 heads, and they've got 4 wings, and they've got 4 wheels that spin them around. I mean, you got to read the description of this. It's incredible. But in the wheels, I think it's really important because here in our read today, and twice in Ezekiel chapter 1, he tells us that the Spirit is in the wheels. So today's the 3rd time he's told us that the Spirit is in the wheels. And anytime the Bible starts repeating something, it's really important. I don't know if this is important for us for future times or what, but just it's important for some reason. So remember, the Spirit is in the wheels. Don't take that too far when you get in your squad car and see if you got enough air in your tires and go, well, the Spirit's in the wheels. No, we're talking about the cherubim, this creature of God, this incredible creature of God with wings and hands of a human. It's just unbelievable. And it's fun to go to the internet and type this in, Ezekiel's vision, into a search engine, click on images, and see some artist rendering of what this creature looks like, because it's really cool. But anyway, the other main part of this vision that I think is the most important, at least that's what I gathered, it may not be, but just from what I read, it has the greatest implication for us, I guess. Sorry about that, guys. So it's this vision of God over Jerusalem looking at the temple, and there's all these abominations going on, people worshiping idols and women crying out for this female idol, and 25 men on the east side of the temple with their backs to God, or their backs to the temple, prostrating themselves and praying to the sun. Look that up. I'm sure you can identify what group of people that is that are still around today, and still are doing this kind of worship in Jerusalem at the temple. It's very interesting. But there's 25 of them, so I haven't quite figured out what the number 25 means and the significance of this as it applies to these men. But So God calls out 7 men from the temple, and they come out. One is wearing linen and he's got a writing utensil. The other 6 come out and they've got swords. They're called destroying weapons and shattering weapons. But God tells the man with the writing utensil, the man in linen, to go around and mark the foreheads of the people, and I'm going to read it. Put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and groan over all the abominations which are being committed in its midst. Okay? They are concerned and upset at all this evil that's going on in the temple of Jerusalem. They get a mark put on their head that saves them. The guy with the utensil and the linen goes around, he puts marks on everybody's heads. Then, when he's done, the 6 men with swords go around and they kill and destroy everyone else. Everyone that's not concerned about God's temple and God's worship. We've got to be concerned about our worship and the worship of God in our culture, in our communities, in our sphere of influence. We want to be the men and women who get this mark because we are so concerned, and an honest, sincere concern for the worship of God. We got to love our God. That's our takeaway for today. If you're interested in seeing the opposite mark, you can go to Revelation and look for the mark of the beast. It's the opposite of the mark of God that we're seeing here in Ezekiel. Anyway, today was a great read, and I'm sure tomorrow is going to be the same. We're going to be in Ezekiel chapter 12 through 14. So read ahead, come back here, let's get ready to discuss what we've learned, and until then, you guys be safe.